Living life is stage. Hey, hey. 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 Love yourself first, explicitly. You owe it to yourself to move with that energy. Empower your self-esteem. Self-love is king. That's the only way to win. That's how you empower your dream. Living life is stage. Hey, hey. Living life is stage. Hey, hey. Living life is stage. Hey, hey. Living life is stage. Hey, hey.
Hey, y'all. Happy Thirsty Thursday. And thank you so much for tuning in for Living Life with Stae. And today is Living Life with Stae and Pamela. Pamela, say hi to the people. Hi. For those of you who don't know, which is probably all of you, this is my beautiful daughter-in-law, Pamela. And I thought it would be nice if she just joined me for a couple of moments in the very beginning. I know we have a topic today and we are going to get all into creating harmony as an entrepreneur, but this is a rare occasion to have my beautiful daughter-in-law here. So I figured that we would have her on. So y'all know, if you've been following me for any amount of time, especially if you watch my vlogs, we are expecting a baby in July. So we are having a grandbaby, and Pamela is carrying that grandbaby for us. She has agreed to be, she has agreed to be the carrier of the grandbaby. And so we're excited, and they decided to have the baby here in Dallas, Fort Worth, so that we could all be a part of that. And so they were over this evening visiting. And so I asked her if she could jump on for a few moments. So y'all also know that, Pam and my son, Jacoby, were in the military. Hey, Sheed. Hey, Dawn. And thank you for the congratulations. They were both in the military, and that is where they met. And so now they are moving on to civilian life. So I just kind of wanted to ask you, Pam, what is the most exciting thing that you're looking forward to as far as just being a regular old civilian as opposed to being in the military?
Leave. So like in the military, when you want to do leave, you have to put in a leave form, and then if you're going like on a cruise or something, you have to take papers. You have to get everything approved. You have to take a test to see if you're allowed to go in that country.
Really?
So that's one thing I'm not gonna miss.
Okay.
As a civilian, you could put leave, and that's the end of it.
Right. You don't even have to tell anybody where you're going. So anytime you take leave in the military, you have to tell them where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So every time we took leave, when we moved from wherever we were moving, we would come into Texas and the address we were going to.
Oh. Well, it's kind of what we had to do when we were coming.
Well, yeah, that was different though, but I didn't know they had to do it every single. Y'all know, Wallace need to make sure that y'all know he's here. Let me see. Dawn said, Pam, is that the one that never wants to be on camera in your vlogs? Yes, she is the one who never wants to be on camera. That's why she agreed to join me today, Dawn. But she said 2 questions. So I'm trying to think of the 2 questions. So yes, this is Pam. If y'all saw in the last vlog, we were just talking about it. My granddaughter was vlogging and she asked Pam a question, and Pam's like, turn the camera the other way. And she didn't realize till that she saw the vlog that the camera was right on her. But because I know she doesn't want to be on the camera, I edited the rest of it because I'm like, she is going to be mad at me if I keep the whole interview in the vlog. So yes. Hey, Jamia, girl, that burger looks so good. I watched her premiere today. Yeah, so I need to make them good questions. But y'all know Wallace is over there now. He's going to try to take one of my questions. Wallace, what? You said you had a question.
What is she looking forward to most in motherhood?
Oh, well, that's what I was going to ask. So with you expecting and the baby being due in a little over a month, what are you looking forward to the most? That's a tough one.
No, I mean, there's different things like just the bonding with the baby.
Yeah.
And then you get to have your own connection with them.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
What are you not really looking forward to?
Waking up in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Pam likes her naps. Nap time is going to be over. But is that going to be one of the first things you teach the baby is nap?
Yes.
Yeah.
I grew up taking naps, so I think that our kids should have nap times.
Yeah. Pam is a fan of the nap. She was coming over here to hang out with us the other day, and Jacoby was going out, and she told me that she had some big plans for us when she came over. And the plan was, we're going to take a nap. We're going to take a nap. So, yeah, sleep. Yeah. So, Jamie said sleep. That was cute. Yeah. Oh, well, thank y'all. Hey, Tamika. Thank you so much, Pam. Well, you're welcome to stay here and continue to join me if you're having so much fun.
Well, I'll give you one more question. That was Mr. Hall's
Okay,
question.
you'll get. Well, see, you asked the same question I was going to ask. Okay, but this is what I want to ask. Then let me think about it. Okay, so am I allowed to say what you're having? Because we did the gender reveal. I think everybody knows. Okay, okay. So you're having a boy, and so what are you thinking with the boy? Do you think he's going to look most like you, or do you think he's going to look most like Jacoby?
We've had this conversation, me and Jacoby. We know that lengthwise and head, like from how I am now, I do think Jacoby's gonna have a lot of features in the baby. Hair type, I think he'll have more of my hair type, and then skin complexion, I think it would be more of Jacoby.
Okay.
Do
you kind of have pictures of the baby in your head now of what you're kind of thinking that he's going to look like?
No, so I only have one real ultrasound picture of him.
No, I mean, like in your mind, do you have a picture? Like, do you imagine him and you think you kind of know what he's going to look like?
No, because I only had that one ultrasound.
So you didn't just imagine?
No.
So you're just going to be surprised, completely surprised.
I think he's going to be like long.
Yeah.
Because Jacoby's long.
Jacoby is very long. And Pam just really all of a sudden start looking pregnant in the last 48 hours. Like, I mean, she looked pregnant, but it was like, okay, she's pregnant. But all of a sudden in the last 48 hours, she looks pregnant. Like she's about to pop. Yes, the belly. As soon as she came in the house today, and I guess it hasn't been a week since I've seen you. And as soon as she walked in the house today, I'm like, well, dang. You are pregnant. And then she looked at me like, and I'm like, what? She was like, Jacoby's been saying the same thing the past couple of days. So yeah, she's looking pregnant, but we're excited. Thank you so much for the congratulations. I appreciate y'all. And I appreciate you, Pam. Wasn't this fun? So maybe she'll be in the vlogs a little more right now. You're excited about vlogging?
I'll be in it. I just won't talk.
Yeah, she'll be in it. She just won't talk. So we're going to get her to talk more. Hey, Stae and everyone. Hey, Tamika. Yeah, I know. I tried to make them good questions. Which one were you?
I like how it comes.
Oh, yeah. If we hit them over here. Yeah, this is her first time being behind the scenes, y'all. Yes. I love pregnant bellies. Yeah, she shared her belly with me for the first time the other day. I got to see the belly. So she has a really nice belly too, y'all. So yeah, it's a nice belly. She's going to do well. So let's see. I love pregnant bellies. I want to make sure I got everything. Hey, Deborah, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And thank you for the congratulations. Everybody's so sweet. I appreciate my L.Y.F.E tribe so much. And thank y'all for being here. You got anything else you want to say to the people? Oh, she already got one foot on the floor. Well, that was Pam, y'all.
Yay.
We're going to get her in front of the camera a little bit more. So I was shocked that she even agreed to do that. So yeah, thank y'all for all the congratulations. And thank you for being here. You know, I appreciate you guys so much. And so today, I just wanted to chat because I know so many in the L.Y.F.E tribe are entrepreneurs, right? So we're either doing our things. Jamie has said, thanks for coming, Pam. She's like, so I know a lot of us, we're doing a lot of things. So either if we're just straight up in these content creation streets, or if we have some other sort of business that we're doing, if we have products, services, goods, whatever we're doing, a lot of us are entrepreneurs in our own right. And one thing that I have been dealing with a couple of my newer clients who have just recently started businesses is them trying to figure out and maneuver in this entrepreneurial space and still be able to maintain harmony in the other aspects of their life. Because whenever, and I think I said hi to you, Kelly. I hope I did. Whenever you're working like in corporate America, or you have a quote unquote regular job or career, and you have a set schedule, it's a little easier to maintain that harmony because you know pretty much every day what's going to happen, how things are going to go, and you're able to schedule those things, and everything doesn't fall on you. Whenever you have a corporate job, you pretty much already have a team that either you're managing or a team that you're a part of. And whether you're there or not, things are usually going to happen and you don't have to worry about that. And then the most important thing, or the most substantial difference, is when you're in corporate America, that paycheck is going to be steady. You have paid time off for your vacations. If you're sick, you typically get paid for that. If you have to have an extended stay in the hospital for surgery, if you have a baby, you have maternity leave. And so it's a lot different when you're an entrepreneur, because the phrase they say is you eat what you kill, which means if you're not out there working, if you're not out there hustling, if you're not out there getting the contracts, if you're not out there, getting the new clients, the new customers, then you don't get paid. And you don't get paid, you don't eat. And if you don't have the money, then you can't go on vacation. And sometimes when you're first building a business, you feel like you can't afford that. And so I wanted to talk about how you can still create that harmony, because even though there's a lot that goes from you personally as an entrepreneur, it is still very important to be able to have that harmony in your life, because work is no good for anybody. And it does hit a little different when you're working for yourself, and it doesn't tend to wear you out quite as much because it is fulfilling and you are, your own boss and you're working towards legacy a lot of times. However, you're still only human. You still are someone who needs connection with other human beings. You're someone who needs to take breaks. You're someone who needs to be able to still maintain quality relationships. Hey, Casey, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, it can really wear you out, but you have to be able to create that harmony, because you will run yourself ragged. And even if you're finding success in your business, like people say, it's lonely at the top. You don't want to have all this success in your business, but you haven't been able to maintain healthy relationships. You haven't been able to maintain a healthy lifestyle, taking care of yourself, mind, body, and business. And that is the women's conference that I did this past January, was New Year, New You. Self-care, mind, body, and business. And what happens a lot of times is people start these businesses, they get into that entrepreneurial lifestyle, and the only thing they focus on is their business. And that's just not healthy. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. So let me see. Casey, what do you mean you don't have any friends? You do have some friends, but that's the thing though. Friendships tend to go by the wayside. And so that's the kind of stuff we're going to talk about, is how you can manage and maintain those friendships. And I'm going to put my link up here so y'all know it's an open door policy around here. If anybody wants to join me, if anybody has a question, if anybody has anything that they want to add, you can always feel free to join me up here. We can create a panel. This is not just listen to Stae. I say it all the time. I talk all the time. That's what I do for a living. I'm comfortable with that, but I have no problem interacting and engaging with other people. And I don't think I know everything, but that is something that can sometimes go by the wayside, is our friendships. So since Casey mentioned not having any friends, let's just talk about how to manage, maintain, and still be able to engage in our friendships, because friendships are important. We need those people who we trust. We need those people who we like, who we can have a good time with, let our hair down. We need those people, but friendships need to be nurtured. I know we have a lot of people in here who are in the gardening community. Well, y'all know all about nurturing and gardening. You have to make sure you have the proper soil. You have to make sure that you have the proper amount of sunlight. You have to make sure that you're watering those things. If you're not doing that, then you're not going to be able to have a crop to harvest. The things are not going to mature. They're not going to ripen. They're not going to manifest. And it's the same thing with our relationships and our friendships. And so if you are just so preoccupied with your business and you have just poured yourself into your business, Jody, I need to talk to you. I need to text you, whatever, to see what you got going on tomorrow. My sister is coming into town tomorrow and she asked about you and we thought about maybe heading over to Papado, but I said, no, and Jody, her dance card is already full. So I'm glad you popped in, sis. Let me know what you got going on tomorrow afternoon. She should be here pretty early. Sorry, y'all. Sidebar, side note. I saw Jody pop in and I'm like, let me tell, because I've been meaning to call her and text her all day. So I apologize. But yeah, we have to nurture those friendships. And if we're just pouring ourselves into our business, and a lot of times I've heard where people will say, you know, well, I just don't have time. I'm trying to build a business. I don't have time. Well, those things that we don't nurture will die. Just like if you don't take care of that garden, just like if you don't take care of that plant, whatever it is, that pet, whatever it is that you don't feed, you don't cultivate, you don't nurture, it will die, including your friendship, because people can get used to you not being around. As sad as it is, but they can. Life goes on. People have their own lives. They have their own things going on. And if you're not making time for them, then they don't feel like it's a priority or it's important to you. And so you need to still make time. Now, I'm not saying that that time might not be different than it was, where opposed to maybe you were able to hang out every week, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Maybe you might need to cut that down to just a lunch or a happy hour every other week. But you need to communicate those things to your friends. And that's why I tell you all the time, the like-mindedness in relationships is so important. And that's not only when it pertains to romantic relationships and marriages. Being like-minded, being equally yoked is important in our regular everyday friendships with the people who really matter to us. And so there is nothing wrong with having conversations with your close girlfriends, your close guy friends, and say, look, sis, look, bro, I just started this new business. It's going to be taking up a lot of my time. I don't want you to feel like I no longer value our friendship. I really love hanging out with you, but it just may be a little different. And if I can even ask you this, go ahead and just reach out to me. Like if you don't hear from me as much as you used to, please just reach out to me, because I'm trying to be able to still maintain healthy relationships, maintain good friendships while I'm doing this. And I may need you to pull me out of my work every once in a while. There's nothing wrong with that, because sometimes we can get so caught up that we don't even realize that weeks have gone by and we haven't talked to anybody unless it was business related. But it's about communicating, y'all. Let me see. Hold on, please. Hold. What did Jody say? Just check my calendar. I can't believe it. I'm free tomorrow. Let me know what time. I love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, girl. I definitely will. So we're thinking about that happy hour, like 3 to 6, but they're coming in tomorrow. So I don't know exactly what time she's going to get here, probably around 1 o'clock, but I'll hit you up for sure. And you know, you can always just come over here and then we can go. But there's nothing wrong with asking for grace ahead of time, you know, kind of giving people a heads up that this is what's going on with me. Things might look a little different, because if you just disappear, sometimes people feel like, well, maybe I did something. Maybe they just ain't fooling with me no more. I don't know what the case is. And so people will just move on. So those conversations are important, and it's good for both people, because now your friends are aware of what you have going on. And if you are equally yoked with your friends, if you do have like-minded friends, they're going to be respectful of what you have going on. They're going to want to support what you have going on. But now you've put that bug in their ear that, hey, if I go MIA for too long, reach out to me, because I'm going to need to get out sometimes, but I'm just so into this business. I'm just afraid I might get caught up. And that's how you're able to maintain that, because when all is said and done, you want those relationships. And it's not that your business or whatever is more important than your friends. It's just the simple fact that it's new and it needs you. And so you want to have those conversations. And when your friends do call you and they're respectful of your boundaries. So I'm not saying if your friends are just like, no, you can still hang out all the time. But if you have a friend or a couple of friends who are like, I get it, and I support you 100%. I wish you all the best. Let me know if you need anything, whatever. But if that friend is like, look, girl, I haven't heard from you in 2 weeks. You haven't been out in 2 weeks. It's time for you. Go take a shower, throw something on. We're going to go somewhere, sit out on the patio, have a cocktail, have some crawfish, whatever. Do that, because that's what you asked of that friend. So when they call you, you need to trust that they have your best interest at heart and they're pulling you out. Because I'm telling you, as an entrepreneur, you can get so bogged down with just the success of it all and wanting to make everything work that you can get fixated in a negative way. And you will end up driving yourself bonkers trying to work on that business. And maybe the best thing for you is a break, to take a minute, to take a beat, to get away from it so that you can regroup. Because if you just keep on spinning your wheels, working, you are going to burn yourself out. So you're not being productive anyway. Let's see. That's me, but I'm a little mean because I feel like if I forgot me, I should forget them too. No. The thing is, everybody has lives, and it's not that they forget you. It's just the fact that if I've reached out a couple of times and you couldn't go or you were too busy, like, people don't want to have to chase behind you. But the thing is, you need to have those conversations with them to say, hey, every once in a while, I might disappear, but this is what I need from you. And that's the thing. We have unrealistic expectations from people, and then we end up getting our feelings hurt, but we've never had those conversations with them. And you also have to put yourself in the other people's shoes. Like, how would you feel if somebody just went ghost on you? And so it's something that it has to be that harmony. And I say it all the time. So many misconceptions, so many disagreements, so many hurt feelings and whatever could be resolved if people were willing just to have a conversation instead of assuming. Hey, how's it going? Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And I know I still owe you a date, but life has been life and the schedule is crazy. I do understand. I could not have talked to someone in a long time, but when I see them, we pick up right where we left off and as though we never missed a beat. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. That's what those true friends are. And like you said, your true friends understand, but they may not understand if you don't have the conversation. And so you want to have that conversation. You want to make sure that you let them into what you have going on and just be open and honest with them. And like I said, you may need them. Thank you for understanding. And you need them to have that understanding for you. And you also may need them to be that person to look out for you, to say, hey, sis, it's time to get your head up from that desk and get out the grind and just let your hair down and kick back, because that can also be a part of your self-care, which is something else that you need to balance as an entrepreneur. You are not going to find success. Believe me, do not feel like working 24/7, 7 days a week is what is going to bring you success. Don't ever think that. It is about working smarter, not harder. It is about working and still being able to maintain your self-care, because again, it is mind, body, and business. If you don't have your mind right, that affects your body. Stress, mental health issues, things like that can affect your body and cause bodily damage. It can cause you to have things like hypertension. It could cause you to have things like aneurysm, strokes, different things like that, just from the stress. And no business, no money, no success is worth that. And so you have to have your mind right in order to keep your body right. You also have to fuel your body properly. You need to make sure you're hydrated. You need to make sure that you're eating healthily. All of this stuff is connected, because again, if you're not taking care of your mind and your body, what are you working towards? Because you're going to end up being gone from here well before your time, because you're not healthy in your mind and your body. And so all the hard work you have put into your business, you're not even going to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor, because you're going to be laid up sick somewhere or worse. And so if your mind and your body is not together, then there's no need to even be working on a business, because you are going to burn yourself out and you are going to become sick, unhealthy, or even have certain mental health issues. You'll be dealing with depression. You'll be dealing with anxiety. And so those are the foundation pieces of being an entrepreneur. And so many times people make the mistake of putting the work first. And the work can't come first, because without the other pieces, the work is going to be in vain. I think for me, it's mostly because most of the people I feel free with are all far away from me. And I understand that. I definitely understand that. And distance can make a difference, because when there's distance, that also means more time. So in order to invest time in these people, then that means I have to take more time, because I have to travel to see them. And so I get that, but that's just about being intentional. Thank you, Dawn. That's just about being intentional in your efforts. And that's where sometimes maybe the spontaneous types of get-togethers and things won't work. So you have to plan. And so that's a whole nother point of it. When you plan it, make sure you stick to it. If you say, hey, sis, I'm going to come visit you on July 17th. No matter what happens, you keep that plan on July 17th, because what I'm going to tell you for sure is the work is always going to be there. And I know for me, whenever I take a break and I hang out with my friends, or I go on vacation, or I go visit, that's really when my creative juices start working. That's really when I get some of my best work. That's usually when I get the most energy and I'm more invigorated. So when I come back, the quality of work that I'm putting out is so much better than had I just stayed and worked and worked and worked. Let's see. Jody said, I am too busy to be checking in all the time. Life be life, and my friends know I'm here, there, and everywhere. But sis, you know, I make sure I live my best life to have that work-life balance. Absolutely. And that's the thing. I know that we all, you know, get busy. We all have our own stuff going on, but I just feel like it's important to every once in a while to be intentional about checking in with one another, and not necessarily feeling like, well, if I haven't heard from them, then, you know, they must be okay. Or they haven't heard from me, whatever. Because one thing I know that happened with me, thank you so much. No, I appreciate you, Sheed. I definitely appreciate you for being here. But one thing that happened to me that made me kind of look at that differently, like I am now where when somebody crosses my mind and I have not talked to them or had any interaction with them in a while, I make it a point that if I can't call them, then I send myself a message to reach out to them. Because what happened to me one time is I have a dear friend who I hadn't heard from in a while. And I was like, feeling like, well, it's just life, it's whatever. And, I just was kind of putting it off. And then one day it just was really on me, like, you know what, I haven't heard from them in a while. And we used to talk all the time, and I knew nothing had happened between us. And at least I didn't think anything had happened between us, because sometimes, you got issues with people that you didn't even know you had. But I didn't think anything. But then when I called her, and I was actually in the shower, and so I'm in the shower, I don't have anything to do. And usually when I'm in the shower, I have my phone up on the wall in this little holder, and I'm usually watching YouTube videos while I'm taking my shower. That's my downtime. So I was like, you know what? Instead of just taking my shower as normal and watching YouTube, I have time because I'm going to be in here for at least 15 minutes or so. Let me go ahead and call her. And when I called her, the laundry list of things she ran down to me that she had been through. She had her father had passed away. There were some other family issues. There had been something huge that had went on with her business, like all these different things. And I just felt so terrible, because I'm like, I'm just never that friend to just check in, and not for any reason. I'm not a phone person at all. And so that's why I try to get better with that. And I'm just not that person who's like, oh, well, let me just check in. But that made me be more intentional. So now if somebody crosses my mind, it's like I may only have 5-10 minutes to talk to you while I'm driving from one meeting to the next. But I'm going to call you when I get in that car, and I'm going to say, hey, I was just calling to check on you. I haven't heard from you, seen hide nor tail, as my grandmother used to say, of you. And I only got 10 minutes while I'm in the car, but I just wanted to make sure that I checked on you. And that's just, because you just never know. Both people have to put in effort because life gets the best of most people. Absolutely. And you just never know. And so that's why I wanted to make it, clear that we want to check on people, and there's nothing wrong with giving people permission almost to check on you, because sometimes people don't want to be invasive. They don't want to be intrusive. But again, when you're going down this entrepreneurial journey, it is absolutely fine. And I think necessary to tell people, look, if you don't hear from me in a little while, just check on me. Just check on me, because this entrepreneurial life, it is not for the weak. It is not for the faint of heart. And especially if you're a full-time entrepreneur, this life can get really dark sometimes because there's so many ebbs and flows, right? So it can be business, contracts, emails, phone calls, then nothing. And you can't really, plan. It's a little, especially in the beginning, to budget, because it's like, oh man, I got this one contract for this much. I got this one contract for this much. Life is good, but there's no guarantee that that's going to be the same thing in the next quarter. There's no guarantee that that's going to be the same thing in the next month. And so sometimes, it can be quite depressing. It could be scary. Let's see. Dawn said, whenever a friend pops in my mind, I will send a text just to let them know that I'm here and thinking of them. I'm not a phone person either. Okay. Yeah. And I'm much more of a text person, but I'm true to my word. If I say I'm going to do something, I am there. They don't even have to remind me. I know that about you, Jody. They just know it's a given. But you are right. If someone is heavy on your mind, I do check in. Yeah, absolutely. But that's one thing I know for sure. Jody gonna be there. If she say she gonna be there, she gonna be there. And what I love about Jody too, she always knows. Like y'all just saw it in real time. I'm like, hey girl, what you doing tomorrow? She lets you know I'm available or I'm not available. Like she don't hem-haw around. She always knows, yeah, I can do it or I can't do it. And so it's just important with those things. You want to make sure that you are creating harmony and letting people know. Another thing as far as creating harmony as an entrepreneur is, for most of us as an entrepreneur, we work from home. Now, if you're an entrepreneur and you're a hairstylist or a barber, or you have a nail shop or a car wash or a boutique, and you have the ability to actually have a workspace, you have a store, you have a shop that you're going to, this might be a little different for you all because you still actually have a workplace that you're going to. But for those of us like me, where I actually have a service, I'm a life coach. I'm an emotional intelligence and soft skills coach. What I do a lot of what I do, I can do from right here. I sit behind this computer and I'm on Zoom calls or Teams calls a lot of every day. If I'm not on calls, I am, building curriculum or I'm answering questions. But a good bulk of what I do, I'm able to do right under my own roof. I have an office upstairs. Wallace has an office down here. Now, I do have my coaching sessions where I have to go out and meet people. I have my training series that I do. But when I have to do things outside of the home, I'm usually only gone for a few hours at a time. I might have a 4-hour session at somewhere corporate. Every once in a while, I'll have a full day retreat. But most of the time, I do what I do from here. And so when you do what you do from home most of the time, it is hard for your mind to be able to switch back and forth from work and I'm at home, work and at home, because everything is at home. But it's very important to create those boundaries, to not allow yourself to work 24/7 just because you're working from home. So what I have done for myself and my lifestyle is I have work hours. At a certain point, I'm shutting off the computer, at least as far as is to work. I'm not answering emails after a certain time that are business. I'm not responding to text messages after a certain time that are business. I have work hours, because if you don't, again, you will burn yourself out. Another thing you have to learn, and I'm sorry, the dogs are going crazy because the boys went to Sonic to go get ice cream and they're just now coming back. And we have both my grand puppy here and my puppy here. So please excuse me, but yeah, the dogs are crazy. But you have to be able to create those boundaries of office hours versus your work hours, because number one, you'll burn yourself out. Number two, if you're responding to people's emails at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, people will become accustomed to that. People will become used to that. And y'all know I say this all the time in my life coachings on Mindset Mondays, is you teach people how to treat you. And that's in business as well. You teach people how to treat you. And so if you're the type of person who, as soon as you get a text, no matter what day it is, no matter what time it is, you're responding to that, people are going to expect that from you. So you have to create those boundaries early on. Let me see. What did you say? My work hours are until, yeah, what was up on 5 heartbeats? My office hours are. And that's the truth, because you don't want to get into this thing where, and I know a lot as a new business owner, as a small business owner, sometimes you're afraid not to respond to the client, right? Sometimes you're afraid not to respond to the customer because you feel like, well, if I'm not on it, they will go somewhere else, or, I just don't want to lose them, or I'm just trying to show them how dedicated I am. But you still deserve those boundaries. You still deserve that respect. And oftentimes when people are texting you and emailing you, now calling you, that's a separate thing. But don't think that just because someone texted you or emailed you at 10 o'clock at night, that they're really expecting you to respond at 10 o'clock at night. And that's up to you. The ball is in your court. No one can make you respond. If you respond, that's on you. But sometimes because of the busyness of their lives, that was the only time that they had to reach out to you. And I know early on in my entrepreneurship career, when I was in real estate, I used to be so nervous because real estate is such a competitive industry. I used to feel like I had to respond to everybody because they'll just get somebody else. And there were a few times when I responded to somebody in the midnight hour, they responded back like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I never expected you to respond. It's just that, I worked all day today and I just wanted to get this to you before I forgot about it in the morning. But if you do respond, then they're going to expect it. And so you want to be able to create those boundaries so that you're not burning yourself out and that you're not creating this unrealistic expectation of yourself that you're a 24-hour, 7-day a week, 365 business, because you're not Walmart. You're not 7-Eleven. You do not need to be available for people 24/7. Let's see. Jody says, I used to answer work messages at any given time, but I don't do that anymore and stop responding to my work messages at 5. And my boss and everyone else knows that, so they respect that. Yeah, again, you teach people how to treat you, whether it's the negative or the positive. If you respond at 10 o'clock at night, then they'll think that it's fine to text you or call you at 10 o'clock at night. Why wouldn't they? If you don't, then they'll realize that's not the right thing to do. And my thing is, if I get emails from people outside of my business hours, then I do make it a point to, respond to them, as early the next day as I can. I just don't leave them on red. But again, you're not going to get a response from me before 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're not going to get a response from me after 7 o'clock in the evening. And I feel like my office hours are very generous, but the reason why I stretch mine from 8 to 7 is because during the day, if I'm with clients, if I'm doing a session, I can't, I have some hours sometimes where I'm unavailable to respond. So I stretch it, because if I've done something and I don't have a chance to sit down and look at my emails until 5, 6 o'clock, then I give it to 7. But 7 o'clock, Stae is shutting down. And that's why I'm able to come before y'all at 7 o'clock. I don't take any clients after 6 o'clock. My last life coaching client that I will ever schedule would be at 6 o'clock so that I can be done at 7, which leads me to another thing as far as entrepreneurship goes. If you are someone who deals with people, you also have to make people respectful of your time as it pertains to family members and friends, and let them know what your office hours are. When I first became a full-time entrepreneur, because this is my second time becoming a full-time entrepreneur. I was a full-time entrepreneur and then things happened. I got divorced. I was a single mom. And so I had to go back into the workforce. But when I was a full-time entrepreneur, the first time around, my family and my friends thought that full-time entrepreneur somehow meant you don't work and you're available to run my errands all day. And so people would contact me at 2:00 in the afternoon and ask me to go pick up their dry cleaning for them, or could I pick up their child from daycare, or could I make this phone call for them because they were at work. And I would be like, well, I'm working too. Well, you're not working. You're just at home doing your little business or whatever. Okay, well, that's work. And I have office hours and I have kids too. And so I have things that I need to get done for the day before my kids come home from school and I have to cook dinner. And so it's really important to also have conversations with family members and friends that not only that you're an entrepreneur, but that this is serious for you and this is your livelihood and this is how you're trying to make money. And being a full-time entrepreneur does not mean that I just have this hobby that I really, really like and I'm just going to quit my job and do this hobby. No, just like they have a job, you have a job, and you want to be sure that people can respect that, because people who have never done it before don't necessarily understand it. And a lot of people look at entrepreneurship as a hobby, not realizing how many Fortune 500 companies and things that we depend on and live by every day started off as a small business. And you can't effectively have a small business if you have no schedule, if you have no structure, if you're able to just stop work at any time and go run this errand and do this thing. It's like I make my appointments and my structure around my work schedule, the same as I would do if I was in corporate America, because I need to be working when other people are working, because those are my potential customers and clients. I can't just do all my work in the middle of the night. I have phone calls and people that I need to talk to as well. And so as much as you need to create boundaries for your clients and your customers and your business partners, you need to create boundaries for your family and friends and let them know that I'm not necessarily going to be available during certain work hours. I can't just drop everything. Now, I don't have any problem with being maybe this contact person, because as an entrepreneur, and the reason why a lot of us get into entrepreneurship is it does lend you a lot more flexibility. So say, for instance, if I am the emergency contact person for one of my friends' kids or my sister's child, as far as if they get sick at school, I'll be the one to go pick them up. Now, I can understand that, because it could possibly be a lot easier for me to drop what I'm doing, even though I'm working, to go pick up that child from school, than you having to leave your job, explain to your boss why you need to leave, possibly maybe having to take some leave, fill out PTO to go to the school. Now, when it comes to things like that, that's just part of being a good friend. That's just part of being a family. But I'm talking about those little frivolous things like, oh, can you just run and get such and such for me? Can you just do this for me? Can you make this phone call for me? Or can you ride me here to do this? No, I can't do that because I'm working. But again, those are the boundaries that we need to set. Those are the rules and regulations that we need to put in place. And again, it's about having those conversations, because everybody doesn't understand and know what that looks like. Everybody doesn't know the seriousness and the importance of being able to run a schedule. So as much as you need to balance the social life, you still have to make sure that those people who you are social with respect the fact that you have a business as well, and don't just look at it like some sort of hobby. So does that make sense? Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? I feel like I'm losing y'all on this one, but these kind of things are just some things that sometimes people jump into entrepreneurship and they don't even think about it. And then the next thing you know, it's a hindrance, and it's something that's stressing you out. And so my thing is, you want to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So if you're new into entrepreneurship, this is a great episode for you, because you can get ahead of a lot of this stuff before you even get into it. But if you've been in entrepreneurship for a while and you can relate to some of these things, hopefully I'm giving you some tips and skills to just go back and revamp some things. Maybe you need to have some conversations that you didn't already have. Maybe you need to set some boundaries that you really hadn't thought of, because you really do need to be able to plan for it, because it's a different type of lifestyle. Another way to create harmony in entrepreneurship is being prepared financially, meaning No matter how great of an idea you have, no matter how solid of a business it is, in entrepreneurship, there are no guarantees. No matter how many contracts you have, we still in entrepreneurship are depending on someone. It's just in a different way. We either need someone to buy our products, we need someone to use our services, we need to be contracting with someone. And anytime you are depending on outside sources for your finances, you need to prepare for that because there's no guarantee. Y'all know I did a podcast episode a few weeks ago about being a full-time content creator, but still making sure you had some other ways to take your content, to take your business offline, because social media is not promised to be here for any of us. Any of these platforms can shut down at any day, or they can stay up and just stop paying us. And it's the same thing as an entrepreneur. You may have 20 great clients today. Within 2 weeks, half of those clients can decide to go somewhere else and do something else, not necessarily because of anything you've done. Somebody else could have just offered them something else, whatever. They can move. Maybe they can no longer afford you. So as an entrepreneur, I still feel like it's very important to make sure that you get ahead of your finances. Never jump into full-time entrepreneurship without at least having 6 months reserve to be able to maintain your lifestyle. And I say that because I've had people who I've coached who have saved up 6 months of their mortgage or 6 months of their rent. That's great. But you pay more than mortgage and rent, and you just want to live. Being an entrepreneur, it may mean that you need to cut back. Maybe you normally go on 3 vacations a year and you can only go on 1. Maybe you go out to eat 3 days a week and you're going to stop eating out. There may be certain things that you can cut back as an entrepreneur, but you still want to maintain your quality of life. You still want to do those self-care things. You still want to have fun. So you want to have at least 6 months in reserve to maintain your lifestyle. Why do I say that? Because compromise and sacrifice are great, but as an entrepreneur, things can get really dark sometimes. So you want to at least have enough money to do those things that bring you joy, to be able to do a little extra. If you get your hair done or your nails done, again, even if you're not doing it as often, you still want to be able to do those things all the time. Being an entrepreneur does not necessarily mean that you have to struggle. You don't have to be a starving artist if you plan properly. Also, when you're going into entrepreneurship, like I said, you want to save, you want to have that reserve for 6 months of your lifestyle. Don't forget about your car payment. Don't forget about the fact that you're going to want to eat out sometimes. Don't forget about the fact that you're going to want to do your nails sometimes. But you also have to plan financially for how many clients do I really need to be able to maintain the salary that I need to maintain my lifestyle? Because just making enough to pay your bills is not going to make anybody happy. I don't care how much you try to talk yourself into, as long as I can pay my bills, I'm good. I just, want to be an entrepreneur. That gets old real quick. It gets old real quick because you're going to be under that stress, that strain of having a new business. You're going to want to have enough funds to every once in a while do something that's not pertaining to business. So you can't just get that one good client, that one good contract and think that it's going to be great, because that might go away at any time. So multiple streams of income are still important as an entrepreneur. I would stop what I'm doing if I didn't have anything to do or die going on to do whatever for you, sis, because you are the person who is worth it. Seeing how you have loved on me, you are everything. Oh, thank you so much, Jody. I love you so much. You are an awesome, awesome, awesome sister friend, and I appreciate you beyond. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Hey, Grammys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Love those hearts. But yeah, you just want to make sure that even as an entrepreneur, figure out how many multiple streams of income you can have. You never want to put all your eggs in one basket, as they say. Like, you get that big contract, you get those clients, you still need to get more. You need to figure out how many different ways can you make your business work. For instance, y'all know what I do. I'm a life coach. I started off being a life coach in this industry. And so as a life coach, what I dealt with was just having my individual clients, which worked perfect for me when I was still in corporate America, because I could have a full-time job and then see my clients in the evening or on the weekends. But once we start talking about, wanting to be full-time entrepreneurs, I'm like, that's not going to be enough for me. I need to figure out something else that I can do. And that's when we got into soft skills and emotional intelligence, which directly is attached to being a life coach, because a lot of life coaching is about soft skills and emotional intelligence. And so with the soft skills and emotional intelligence, now that opens me up not to only have individual one-on-one clients. Now I'm able to go after corporations and do full day retreats. I'm able to do series and different coachings and go into the city and go into different organizations. And so that way I'm able to build my book of business where I'm not just depending on one thing. And so anybody who decides to go into entrepreneurship, just think of not necessarily owning multiple businesses, because sometimes people get that confused. Having multiple streams of income and owning multiple businesses is completely separate. Not to say that you can't own multiple businesses, but in the beginning, you just want to think of how many different ways you can earn income with what you're already doing. So for instance, if you are a hairstylist, what are other things that you can do as a hairstylist? Well, of course, you can have your one-on-one clients. They come get your hair done. Well, you can also perfect your craft in a certain technique, and then you can become someone who is teaching people how to do things. So whether it's braiding, whether it's locks, whether it's silk press techniques. So now, not only do you have the clients whose hair you're doing, you can have other stylists paying you to show your techniques to them so that they can perfect the technique. You can also, as that stylist, start a YouTube channel, start doing tutorials, whether it's on natural hair care, whether you're teaching people how to be a straight natural like myself, whether you're teaching people different protective style techniques and getting paid off of social media. Also, as that salon, you can think about, okay, I am a hairstylist. Do I maybe want to bring other people into my salon to do hair where they're paying me booth rent? Do I want to bring a nail technician in? So everything is still under that same cosmetology hairstylist umbrella, but you're building multiple streams of income where if a couple of your clients fall off, you still are getting paid from the other hairstylists to teach the courses. You still have people here who are paying you booth rent. So y'all picking up what I'm putting down? That's multiple streams of income. Multiple streams of income could also be starting separate businesses. But in the very beginning, that's just a huge undertaking to say, okay, well, I'm doing this and now I'm going to do this whole other thing that's completely different. That's something that's maybe for the future as you kind of get one thing established. But in the very beginning, these are things that you can do rather quickly. Like, what stops you from doing hair every day? From you take your first client at 8, you take your last client at 4, and then you teach a course from 7 to 9. Like, you could literally do that every single day, and that's only a 12-hour day or so. Like, that's not a big deal. But look, you're making money in 2 different ways. And so I want you to think, as an entrepreneur, what are other ways that you can make money doing what you're already doing? And so that way, if one thing falls off, if one thing is pulled away from you, if one thing stops, you still have other things that you can depend on. Because my thing is, if you can already survive as a hairstylist just based on your clients, then you can start teaching those courses to other stylists on whatever your specialty is and just be putting that money in your savings account. Because that's something else to think about as an entrepreneur. A lot of times when you first start in the entrepreneurship, you're going to need a lot more cash than you did. It's not getting business credit is not as easy as a lot of people try to make you think it is. Business credit is really the same as your regular credit. They're going to look at your credit score. They're going to use your social security number, and it's not necessarily that easy. And people are not just waiting to give you money. There's certain kind of businesses where it's a little easier to get money than others, but then now you have a loan and you have debt. And so You want to make sure you have enough money so that you're not putting yourself in debt, so that if something does happen, you have money in reserve, because those are the types of things that a lot of new business people don't think about. And then something happens and the first thing they think of is, I just got to go back to work. And I'm trying to set y'all up in a position where you're prepared for whatever, so that if anything happens, you can just keep rolling. It might be a hiccup. It might be a little different. It might be a little more difficult than it was before, but it's not the end all be all. And so again, you want to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I got to write from Grammy's journal, so I know we are on the right track. So another thing about being a full-time entrepreneur to help be able to create that harmony in your life is partnering up with someone who has already done what it is that you're trying to do. Don't feel like you have to recreate the wheel. Don't feel like you have to learn everything on your own. Get with somebody, find a mentor who has already been down that road and who can tell you even more than I can tell you about that type of entrepreneurship journey. Now, I know a lot about being an entrepreneur, but there's some things that are going to be general, but there's other things that are going to be specific to that industry. Like, I can tell you about how to be an entrepreneur in general. I can tell you a whole lot on how to be an entrepreneur as it pertains to life coaching and things like that. But I can't tell you anything about life as an entrepreneur. Want to open a car or a construction company. So you want to find somebody who is in a similar type of industry that can even further prepare you for the possible things that can go wrong and the things that you want to be looking out for. Let me see. Sis, I have a business idea I want to run by you, and of course I will pay you. Seeing that people are always asking me to connect them with someone, I have an idea on how to capitalize on it, and I need your expert advice. Girl, you know you got me. You know you got me. Just let me know when we can sit down and talk about it. Maybe we can talk about it tomorrow. Hey, Peach, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, Ladybug. Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. I'm excited because you have a lot of awesome gifts that, can be parlayed into a business. But it's really important to find someone who's in the same industry, somebody that you trust, who you can just kind of share your ideas with and just ask them certain questions. However, this is one thing, and it's going to seem a little off, but whenever you reach out to somebody, don't say, hey, I want to pick your brain. I know it's something that people say all the time, but when you're in this space, it's something that offends a lot of people, because what that translates to them is you want to sit down with me and ask me a million questions and you don't want to pay me for my information. I'm just telling y'all, that's how people take it. So when you approach somebody, what you want to do is, first of all, let them know why you're approaching them. So if you're approaching me, for instance, and you want me to mentor you or sit down and help you brainstorm, or for me just to give you some of my advice and different things like that, you want to say to that person, hey, very similar to like what Jody said to me. As a matter of fact, I need your expert advice. And, this is what I'm trying to do. What you want to say to that person is, that's why I said I pay, girl. You ain't got to pay me. No, what you want to say to that person, because when people they like helping people who they know genuinely want their help. And that's what you want to make clear. You want to let those people know that, look, I've been watching you. I like what you do. I'm trying to do this. And I'm just wondering if you wouldn't mind sitting down with me, because I would just love your, like Jody said, expert advice, your expert opinion on whatever it is. It's something about that phrase, pick your brain, that drives people crazy because of things that have happened. And they feel like, okay, so you just want to get from me, but you're not even telling me why. And so you have to be, and I love the fact that you said that, because for me, mentorships, if you go to somebody for a mentorship should not be paid. Now, if you want to actually contract with somebody to meet with you once a week, and, somebody to actually look over your documents and somebody to whatever, that's a coach. And that's normally paid. And even though I'm a coach and people pay me for certain things, there's other people who I'm just a mentor for. And I'm not going to charge anybody to mentor them. But in the mentorship relationship, it's just a little bit different, where we're not going to meet every week at the same time for a certain amount of time. You're just going to come to me, again, like Jody said, for expert advice, to run something by me. And so it's really important to know the difference. And I think I did a show on that, the difference between a mentorship and a coach, and what the expectations are in those different relationships. And so when you do have a mentor, or when you do have somebody that you go to and you're asking for that advice, the main thing that they want to know is that you will keep in touch with them, that you're just not going to have this one meeting with them, get all this information from them, and then go on about their business. In a mentorship relationship, they like to hear about your progress. They like for you to reach out. But in that relationship, the onus is on you to reach out to them and keep them up to date with what's going on, and to, keep them posted, and to continue to ask them questions. And that's the difference in those relationships. And you should not be paying anybody to mentor you. But a coach is definitely something to pay. And again, depending on the relationship, like I would never charge you a dime, Jody, to talk to you about your business. And shoot, girl, I still owe you TikTok lessons. So how about that? But yeah, you just want to be careful, because you want to make sure that when you're building relationships, that you're letting people know that you really value their time and their opinion and their expertise. And sometimes, when it comes to mentorship, yeah, every once in a while, maybe you can take them out to dinner, or take them to lunch, or buy them a drink, but it's not a paid relationship with a contract. Where with a coach, you have a paid relationship with a contract. You start that coaching relationship with saying that this is what, I'm wanting to do. This is kind of what I'm hoping to get out of this coaching. This is the amount of time that we're going to spend together. So hopefully y'all picking up what I'm putting down. You know what I'm going to say. If y'all get that the difference between coaching and mentorship, put a 1 in the chat for me, because I want to make sure that y'all are clear on that. That's a great distinction between the two. So I already know I'm going to get a 1 from Crooked Peach, because I know sometimes people really don't understand that difference. And there is a distinct difference between the two. And, because a lot of people would think, well, I thought coach and mentor was the same thing. And it's not. Coach and mentor are definitely not the same thing. And so you just want to be clear, especially when you're going to somebody and asking them, like if you tell somebody, I want you to coach me, then they're going to be looking for a contract. Well, I know your time is valuable and I will never take that for granted. So I'm buying you some drinks tomorrow. And I want, girl, please, girl, we always have such a good time. That's the most important thing to me. Such a good time. All right. I see some 1s in the chat. Okay, great. Because that's the thing. Because I know I've talked to y'all about the difference. The thing that I run into most is people who ask me to mentor them. And then when I have the conversation with them, they really want me to coach them. And then people who want me to coach them and I have the conversation with them. And thank you, Joe. And they really looking for a therapist. So it's like people always seem to confuse coaching and mentoring and coaching and therapy. And those things are different. And what I suggest is we all need them all. We all need a coach. We all need several mentors. I have several mentors. And another thing about mentorship that's great is you can have a mentor that doesn't even really know that they're your mentor, right? I have mentors who I've never even met, meaning that I have people who I just admire their work acumen. I admire the things that they've accomplished, and I just study them and the things that they do and how they move and they operate. And I implement that in my work ethic. And that's a mentor. A mentor is someone who you look up to, who you aspire to be like. But you can also have personal relationships with your mentors as well, where you're actually able to ask those questions and build relationships and spend time. But truth be told, a mentor can be somebody that doesn't even know they're mentoring you. You know, there's people, like I said, who I've looked up to and I've patterned my business behind, and I've read their books or I've just watched them, and they have no idea because I don't have that type of access to them. But I know from what I see that that is something that I want to do. So let me see. Okay, I'm going to be quiet now because I know your tribe is sick of me. Girl, please, you part of the tribe. You was one of you an OG in the Lifer tribe. You were a part of the very beginnings of the podcast. You have been on my podcast on Fishbowl Radio Network as a guest. You've been at my rectangle tabletops here in this very room I'm sitting at now. So you've been a part of this tribe for a long time. But that is something that I definitely would love to see any of y'all do if I can give you some homework. If you are an entrepreneur, identify who could be a good mentor for you. Start with that. And whether it's somebody who you know and you really want to spend time with them and develop that relationship on the business side, or if it is somebody who you don't know, right? She cracking me up. Somebody who you don't know and you really want to emulate, you know, what you do. Identify that mentor, because it just makes it a lot easier to kind of keep you on track when you have a mentor, because we don't always have people in our day-to-day life who are doing the kind of things that we want to do. And so identifying someone who does that is just an awesome thing. And again, the link is in the chat. If anybody wants to join me up here, I'm just going to be up here a couple of more minutes. The whole family went upstairs. They watching the game. I made collard green gumbo tonight, y'all. Look at me, just all off topic, right? I made collard green gumbo tonight. So it's collard greens, and I made the roux. I put crawfish in there. I got shrimp in there. I got some Kaneka sausage in there, and then I made some cornbread. So we sat here and ate good. Then the boys went and got the ice cream from Sonic, and now everybody upstairs fat full and watching the basketball game. So, you know, I'm feeling kind of jelly because I'm downstairs. Wallace poured me a glass of wine before they went upstairs. But I'm trying to be up there with the family. But, you know, I'm always going to show up when I say I'm going to show up. And guess what else, y'all? I am at 690 some subscribers. Let me see where I'm at. We are almost at 700 subscribers. You know, I'm on my way to 1,000. That's what I'm looking for, the road to 1,000. But we are at 696 subscribers. Look how much we have grown. Girl, come on. We here. Look how much we have grown. 696 subscribers. So my goal is to, by the end of tomorrow, to be at 700. So if y'all can please share the channel with anybody you know, let them know that it goes down here on Thirsty Thursdays, Mindset Mondays, and with the hallway and the vlogs and everything, because I really, really, really want for us to hit that 1,000 goal so that we can just blow it out of the water with this Lifer tribe. So I am super excited about that. The growth has just been exponential over the past couple of months. I'm just like, every day I wake up and it's more subscribers. When I remember a time when I first got in these YouTube streets, I might get one subscriber a week. So that is awesome. And of course, I owe it all to each and every one of you, because there would be no Lifer tribe without each and every one of you. So I appreciate y'all, and please continue to share the content, let people know what we have going on, continue to comment on the videos, like the videos, all those things, because it really, really makes a big difference in the algorithm. And the more that we share, the more that we comment, then the more that YouTube sees that somebody is interested in what Stae has to say, and they'll push it out to other people who can become a part of the Lifer tribe. So I am going to go ahead and end it here so I can go upstairs. And what'd you say, girl? I'm kidding. I'm tired. So, I believe it. Well, I'll still have some tomorrow because I ain't eat it all. They did not eat it all. So it will be here tomorrow. And we're trying to head out there tomorrow, hopefully like around, I'm thinking like around 3:30, 4 o'clock. So even if you just want to head over here around 3 o'clock and hang out, and then we can all go together, it's up to you. But we're going to go to the one, you know, over here closest to the house in Fort Worth to hang out. Because when we were in Alabama Fred and Wallace went out to the sports bar and we was hanging with Donovan. So we were like, okay, this time we gonna go out and leave them at the house babysitting. So yeah, so just come over or whatever. But, you know, I'm thinking around 3:30, 4 o'clock, we'll be heading over there, give her time to get here and get cleaned up, and then we can hit the road and go to Papa Do's for happy hour. But anyway, y'all know the drill. I love and appreciate each and every one of you to bits and pieces. Always be kind and always love one another, but don't forget to live your life. L-Y-F-E. Love yourself first explicitly. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.
Living like a Stae. Hey, hey. 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 Love yourself first, explicitly. You owe it to yourself to move with that energy. Empower your self-esteem. Self-love is king. That's the only way to win. That's how you empower your dream. Living like a Stae. Hey, hey. Living like a Stae.